In this episode, Felicia and Allie of Keep Your Head Up KW share their insight on their experiences seeking support from their friends after their concussions.
Headcheck Health bridges the gap in concussion care through simple, powerful technology. Join organizations like Canadian Football League, Trek Factory Racing, the Canadian Junior Hockey League, Eastern Washington University, and Volleyball Canada, who rely on Headcheck to improve communication and optimize care. Visit headcheckhealth.com for more.
So hi everyone, I'm Allie.
And I'm Felicia, and we're the co-founders of Keep Your Head Up KW. Our mission of our organization is to improve traumatic brain injury recovery, including concussion, through a community-based platform, providing education, empowerment, and social connection.
So today we're going to talk about one of the segments that we recently launched on our Instagram called TBI, or Traumatic Brain Injury, Through the Eyes of Others. Through this series, we aim to share insights from members of an individual circle of support following a concussion. In today's podcast, we are going to discuss TBI through the eyes of friends.
So for this segment, we asked our two closest friends to share their insights of what it was like supporting us after brain injuries. And here's what they had to say.
So the first question we asked was, how has the concussion impacted your relationship? And their response was, it has been hard to watch a friend suffer from an injury you cannot see and cannot completely understand. It hasn't always been easy, but we have overcome a lot together by focusing on communication and how we can better support one another. So this is taken directly from the Instagram post that we've shared on our page. But I think what we really want to point out about this is that it is hard for the friends that are around you after you sustain a concussion, because it is really hard for them to understand what it is like to experience a brain injury if they haven't experienced it themselves.
Yeah, I totally agree. And something that I've learned with my friends and stuff, that the open communication, which was touched on in this post, is something that's so important throughout your friendships. They don't know what you're feeling. You don't know what they're feeling. They're busy as well, and I mean, you're busy too. So it's so important to just be honest with each other and keep that open communication, and just be honest, and that way you can support each other as best as you can. And something that I realized is it's not like you don't always have to be the one waiting to hear the text from your friend or blah, blah. They are busy, like I said, and it's sometimes nice if you can just message them and say, hey, I'm not feeling great. Are you open to chat right now? This is what's up. Because sometimes, like I said, they're busy. They have school, work, other priorities, and it's not like they're not thinking about you. And if you just put the effort out as well, I've learned that that's a really great way to keep that communication and those friendships strong throughout all of the recovery phases.
Mm-hmm. So the next question we asked them was, what are some tools and resources you've used to help yourself while supporting your friend? And their answer was, I think for me, the biggest struggle has been wanting to help and make things better, but understanding that the best way I can do this is by educating myself and using this knowledge to listen and support them in every way that I can. I've learned the importance of patience, mindfulness, and taking a step back to empathize with and consider my friend's lived experience. I know that I will never fully understand what it's like to suffer from a TBI, but I know I can do my best to listen and support a friend who does, whether it's listening to the most difficult parts or celebrating small victories. So, again, this is taken directly from our Instagram, and what I think stand out the most, and it was kind of a good refresher for us to hear their insights and experiences after so many years. And I think going off what Felicia said earlier about leaning on them for support is that sometimes they don't know what to say and they feel helpless in their own way because all they want is to help you, but they don't know how, and they don't want to say the wrong thing. So it can be helpful to point them, if they want to learn more, to point them in the direction of some good resources. And it can also help to just outright say, like, I really need someone to lean on right now. Are you open to listening to what I've been through? And the right friends will be able to do that for you.
Yeah. I agree, and I love the point about celebrating the small victories. Small victories are just as important as the big ones, and I don't know, just being there and always. Not everyone is going to be like totally open and wanting to listen. I mean, not listen, sorry, learn and have the time to educate themselves on this because everyone's busy. But those who care and want to be there to support you are the true
and
friends.
Able to.
Yeah, and they'll be the ones that will be able to support you through it all. So the next.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have something else to add, Allie?
Yeah, I was just going to say, my sister and I have been reminiscing a lot lately just with us starting Keep Your Head Up. And sometimes it's hard now, like being so many years through it, to have new people in my life. And I'm like, you don't know what I've been through. And like, not everybody needs to know, but it is nice to have those people that have been with you through the whole journey that can really appreciate like what it's taken to get you to where you are today. So even if like things are rocky and, you know, like they'll have their fair share of struggles too, but yeah, the right friends will push through with you and will be there on the other side.
I love that. That is so well said and so true. But to the new friends that come in your life, like they will learn, and it's not their fault that they're the new friends, but yeah, that's awesome though. So the next question that we touched on was tools and resources that you have used to help the individual. So they said, I think some of the best ways to support a friend suffering are simply showing up and being there for them, offering a listening ear and reassuring them that it's okay to say no when things become overwhelming. In the toughest moments, taking the time to listen and validate their feelings surrounding the injury can go a long way. It's okay if you don't have answers or solutions for them. That's not always what they're looking for. Having someone that will listen and allow them to process out loud is likely all that they need. This is
yes.
Everything, I don't know, from just not having all the answers and just like you rambling and like I find I do that all the time. I'll just like ramble off and yeah, my friends aren't going to have all the answers or I don't expect them to. I just sometimes I'm so sorry. I just like talked for 15 minutes about how I've been feeling and I'm sorry. But it's just like getting it out sometimes because most times I bottle it up and getting it out, as we all know, is so therapeutic.
Yeah, just honestly, sometimes just like putting your feelings into words can be so therapeutic.
Or even like I can't put them into words. Like most of the time mine is like gibberish, I feel. I'm just like going off and because I can't fully explain in great detail, but yeah, it's
actually, I'm really glad that you said that because I feel like I've always, I don't know what age it happened, but I feel like even at the beginning of my recovery journey, I was able to really like articulate how I was feeling. And I'm realizing now that that's not the case for everyone. And I think especially like looking at how old you are, how old your friend is who's going through it, it's important to know that even if they're not saying anything doesn't mean that they're not, you know, feeling a lot and feeling really upset and or like kind of going through highs and lows. And sometimes just sitting in silence is all they need. They don't I mean it's just not everyone's going to be able to explain themselves and not everyone is going to want to. So sometimes their way of seeking support is just spending time taking their mind off of it and not talking about it. So it can be helpful to sort of just outright ask your friend, like, how can I best support you right now? What do you need? And if they just keep saying, I don't know, you can suggest different ideas. But if they really don't know, I would say just start with maybe just taking their mind off of it with something that you know they love to do.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Well, I want to add one more thing to this. I love also the part about reassuring them that it's okay to say no. I've really struggled with this. I am like really just love doing everything, like busy personality. So especially when we're talking about friends, like I have FOMO or perhaps, and like I'm very like extroverted. So when I know that it's okay for me to like, okay, if I'm not feeling up to it tonight, or if I'm not feeling up to go on this walk right now with my friends, like it's all right for me to say no. And no one's gonna be like my true friends, like I always am like, well, what if they think like I'm lying and I just don't want to come? But I'll say that to them. They're like, Felicia, no, like we know your state, we know who, like we know you, we like no, like that's not the case. So that is like a huge thing, that saying no is okay and really important to remember.
And yeah, I struggled with that a lot too. And I actually, I think it's also like probably Felicia, like in your case, it did take a little bit of time before your friends understood or you were able to vocalize when you weren't feeling okay,
right,
without really worrying about it. And like I definitely experienced a lot of that where I did get pushback from my friends. And I remember feeling so upset because I was like, who are you to be mad at me right now? I'm going through the worst thing in my life, and like you're making it about you. But and then somebody finally pointed out to me like, yeah, they don't know what it's like to have a concussion, but you don't know what it's like when your best friend is suddenly different and not able to do things. Like they don't have a brain injury, but their life has really changed, and they have lost a key person that's been a source of support and fun for them. And it's important to acknowledge that. And don't, like, if that's overwhelming for you, especially at the beginning of your injury, like you need to focus on yourself first. But I would say if it really helped me to hear that, to be reminded that I had to give my friends some grace and acknowledge that, you know, they were going through some hard changes too.
Yeah.
And I couldn't expect them to just, you know, drop everything and be my like because that wasn't fair to them.
Sorry.
So the last question that we asked is, has knowing someone with post-concussion syndrome changed your view on concussions, like in terms of severity or impact? And their answer was absolutely. Witnessing the long-term impact of a concussion shed a lot of light on how severe an invisible injury can be. I think it's important we continue to use these stories and experiences from individuals dealing with post-concussion syndrome so we can develop new and better ways to support those who are affected by it.
I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah. I think I remember when I had my concussion, and I actually had known Felicia and her story before because her injury happened a year before me, and when I had mine I was like, oh, this is what she's been dealing with. And I was like, this is the only way that I would ever know what it's like. And as much as I wanted everyone to know, to understand and to like know what I was going through, I did not want them to find out the way I did. And it is nice to be able to see that the friends that have been really close to us have been able to learn as much as they can without experiencing it themselves, just by supporting us and listening to us. And so I think, I know so many people say like you can never get it unless it's happened to you, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that there are a lot of close friends and close family members in my life that do get it, and that do really appreciate what someone with a brain injury goes through.
Yeah, because of how much they've been affected by it, or like I mean, things happen, or like victories or celebrations happen in my life and your life, Allie, and something great just happened in my life recently, and
Mm-hmm.
reaction from my family, like from head to toe, like all of my family was like, "This is amazing! Like hard work pays off!" Like, and it's just, it shows that like, the whole family.
It
Yeah,
does it affects the whole family. It affects your friends.
yeah,
Yeah. And then like they're with you at your lowest points, but they're with you in your highs. And yeah, it's
yeah.
amazing.
So we do acknowledge, and so like we know that you're there, and your support and everything is never goes unnoticed.
Yeah. So if you're supporting a friend that's sustained a brain injury recently, or maybe you find yourself in that position in the future, just know that it's okay if you're struggling with the situation, or if you're feeling upset that you've of things that you might have missed out on with your friend or the way that it's impacting your life, that's okay. For example, my injury happened just before I was about to graduate high school, and my close friends and we had so many big plans for prom and grad and our summer before university, and my close friend and I were supposed to be roommates in university, and she ended up being all alone and really struggled with that. And I think if you're struggling with the changes that might have happened because of your friend's situation, give yourself grace to feel what you need to feel about it. But what I would recommend is seeking support from someone other than your friend for those concerns. So if you imagine that in the person who sustained the injury is in the middle of a circle, and the the people most close to that person, so the closest family members, the best friends, are in a circle just outside of the middle. And that would be like the closest circle of support. So you're probably in that circle. And the person in the middle who's affected really needs the people in that immediate circle to be their support system. And the people in that outer support system also need people to support them too. But because of what the person in the middle is dealing with, they aren't necessarily able to reciprocate support for those people with what they're dealing with. So for you being in that circle, I would recommend either reaching out to somebody else within the same circle as you, or think about who the next outer circle might be. So people either in your own life or friends that are more distant, and you can reach out to them to kind of reach out for support for what you're dealing with. Yeah, I found that really helpful. I learned about it in a book called Option B by Sheryl Sandberg, and I found it to be really helpful. Both in terms of understanding how I could lean on my friends for support, but also when my friends have encountered their own challenges and I feel like I don't know what to say, or I don't know who I can talk to, or I don't know who I should be supporting. I found it really helpful to imagine that circle or even draw it out and use that as sort of a tool so that I can kind of rid myself of the guilt of like saying the wrong thing or like reaching out to the wrong people and stuff like that. Anyway,
That's good.
Yeah. So we wanted to just wrap up with a few tips for friends that want to be able to help their friends go through it, or also people who are injured, who have a brain injury, who want to know how to access support from their friends if they're having trouble. And like we've said over the last few questions, what we would really advocate for is being really open and honest with your friends and stating what you need in a respectful way. So if you know the way that you seek support and what's helpful for you, you can say that to your friends and ask them if they're open to it, or if there's certain days that you need it. You can just ask if they have the space if they are able to hold that kind of space for you. But they might have something else that you don't know about, and it's okay if they say no. And if you are the friend of the person with the brain injury, you can either read what they're saying, or use your strong active listening skills, or look up how to be a good listener, and see if you can get it out of them. And if they don't want to talk about it, that's okay. You can ask if there's other ways that they would like you to support them, like taking their mind off of it, or like some people really feel supported by gifts, or food, or going for walks, like maybe quick phone calls, asking how their appointments went. Not everyone wants to talk about like how they're doing day to day, but some people really find it supportive to just like have people checking in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to add to that, Felicia?
I was gonna say, yeah, some people, I've learned, like, I personally love when people like check in, and that's something that I love with my recovery journey. However, I've learned that there's obviously various different folks out there. Some people are really obviously closed off about their recovery with even their closest people in their lives. And so, yeah, maybe they don't want to dive deep into how they're feeling because it consumes their everyday. So,
or they might not know how to express it. Yeah.
Words, or, maybe they like it consumes their everyday, and they just want to get their mind off of it for a little bit. So like Ali said, like a walk or ice cream, something that's just like a nice, break. Like obviously if you're up to how you're feeling, but I think just time with friends has really been helpful for me, obviously depending on how I'm feeling day to day. That's just my experience with it. However, yeah, I really agree with everything that Ali said, though. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
yeah, all in all, we just want to really highlight that while it's really important for somebody going through a TBI to have support through their friends, it's also important for those friends to keep their own mental health at the forefront and seek strategies for self-care that work for them. Reach out to your friends and be supportive when you can, but also know your limit and seek support from other people if you need it. And please feel free to reach out to us on our Instagram at Keep Your Head Up KW, or on our Facebook, Keep Your Head Up. Website still in progress, but we'd be happy if anybody is struggling with not receiving the support that they need from their friends, or not knowing how to support their friend. Please reach out to us. We'd love to chat, whether it's on DM or if you want to set up a call with us. We'd be happy to share or just listen, and maybe set up some strategies for you. And if you are a friend who has been a support system for someone, just know that what you're doing, even if the person isn't showing it right away, like they're so grateful for what you're doing. What you're doing means so much. We are so grateful when we look back to be able to see who in our life is really there for us, who our really good friends are.
Yeah.
And it might not have been easy when it was happening, but now we can see it with so much clarity, and it just means so much.
Yeah, you took the words from my mouth, but I mean, every day, obviously, we don't say it, but I mean, we appreciate you with I can't even put into words how much I appreciate it. And yeah, like thank you so much for always standing by us and being there through those good days and those really, really bad days.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, please feel free to connect with us, either email, direct message, Instagram, anything. We would love to hear what you have to say.
If you have any other tips that you found helpful that we missed, also please feel free to give us a shout. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
And stay tuned for future podcasts with our TBI through the week. We have some other exciting themes coming up. We've done it with an athletic therapist, through the eyes of chiropractors we have coming up, through the eyes of caregivers. We interviewed our parents. So we have lots of exciting segments coming up that we hope that you
enjoyed this.
And yeah, we hope you enjoyed this, and we hope that you stay tuned for further podcasts.
Yes.
So thanks everyone.